When he was little boy, I lived in a little town in so-called Durango Pines. At that time my parents brought up chivas and lambs for the barbecue and were selling them the weekends in local markets. Every day we had to put out to pasture the animals to distant pasture lands. Once little hills were hedged in with and semi-arid plains, with blue skies and the dry and arid climate. However, sometimes you could find water in between those places. You had which in fact. An imprisoned child that was gaining the rainwater and was living on a subterranean spring that she was maintaining waters down all year round. It was like an oasis hedged in with mast of mesquite and little hills. Many went to that place to give their animals a drink for what you were having and to come down from toward that place in the way in a grestle road. Always my father liked the drink and sometimes climbing drunk slopes and roads. It tired him and it remained slept to half a path. In the meantime I continued to be accompanied by the kids and his bleats. Then you right now had 15 years for that one, and he was a man. The people of my age that were living in those remote places got stronger since we were born to bear the life and the excessive climate. As soon as I never was a person that become impressed for strange things. You had seen a great deals at the desert and the plains, that they did not have secrets for me. It happened that a night we returned for our house. My mother had come back with us. My father had been taking permission staggering of one all day long, well then side to another one, in the meantime took to my mother in a slow pace between the roads. When we were in the hills tip all ready to return toward the town, I indicated that a little kid was absent. It was informed that you were near by the prey, which is why accent to my mother waiting for my father in the meantime right now had gone away in the obscurity of the road. As I went down to looking for the animal, you listened to it at some point between the trees. As soon as I walked on the spring's side you listened to the bleats plus fence and when at last I could find it I charged it and I returned toward the road. You looked at the starred sky and I checked the animal that was bleeding of strange way. Out of nowhere I felt a shudder in my back, followed of a little wind that began to move the goblets of the trees. Next something gave me to turn over and I saw then a sort of white vapor that began to materialize in something like that to a person. A woman of long dress happened between the shrubs. I saw as the way plus know the facial features of the face. Hands let alone feet. I did not want to pay attention to that appearing, thought that the reflection came from something on water or any fumarole, had seen them before but not so close to water. I keep on walking with the chiva in my arms. I pressed it with nerves and he was tense from seeing like that white vapor you persisted to me where I went. Walked a little faster and that appearing was humbled next to me levitating to my side. Next I stopped and nerves began to do his own. You invaded a rare fear. You did not want to feel it. You wanted to endure me. But my teeth squeaked and my legs each time weighed me more. That simply continued toward me front and disappeared between the spring's waters. I continued to be petrified during a long while and when at last I reacted, I ran it faster that I to where you were my eye sucked waiting to me. She to see me himself horror because you said that he looked pale and agitated. The fact that some animal had been had an itch in or you came wounded considered in an instant. I said absolutely nothing to him and pull her arm in order that we depart from that place. As we got to our house and I knocked down myself in a chair, with the fear in my mind. You failed to understand although you had seen. I prayed something. I do not remember then. But my mother gave me a tea in order that you calmed me. My father was snoring in her bed and she worried told me that perhaps she had seen the soul of any person that died or was trapped there. My mind thought that that was incomprehensible, had seen strange things, but never so close to me or that you stick at my will. After that day, we did not go back to give back so my afternoon of that prayed to me, did not revert to encounter me nothing so closely, but I suppose then to my father if, one day simply you stopped drinking and you lived it frightened seeing to his around all the time, but that one will account for another story. Remember then, if the video I am desirable to you, you can give this like, and to share it with your friends. Remember, in the meantime, but we grow, we will have much more contained of more and more quality for all of you. His friend Julka emits to the next video. Goodbye itself.